Hello everyone, in this video I'm gonna be talking about my Slowbro build. Slowbro has been overshadowed quite heavily by Snorlax since the start of the game, but now it's Slowbro's time to shine after a recent buff to its ability Scald, allowing it to do more damage. So this build will make Slowbro much tankier and deal a good amount of damage from range and provide some crowd control for team fights. So without further ado, let's get started with the build. First off, we have Scald. This ability is unlocked at level 4 and is your primary damaging tool. This move shoots out a stream of water at the enemy and allowing it to burn the enemy for extra damage and reduce their movement speed. The cooldown is extremely short at only 5 seconds, so you can constantly spam this ability for damage from a safe distance. Scald can be upgraded at level 11 to further increase the AoE. Overall, this ability feels really impactful and the damage stacking is quite heavily in a team fight as you can easily spam it over time. Next, we have Amnesia. This ability is unlocked at level 6 and it serves as your defensive and offensive tool. This move reduces the damage of attacks on Slowbro and increases defense, practically providing double mitigation. Additionally, it also increases the damage of Scald, so it provides both a defensive and offensive buff at the same time. Amnesia can be upgraded at level 13 to increase Slowbro's special attack, which means more damage for the late game. Overall, this ability is overloaded with buffs defensively and offensively, making Slowbro a monstrous tank with heavy damaging capability. Alright, now let's talk about the held items. First, we have the Focus Band. This item gives defense and special defense as the base stat, so it's great to help Slowbro survive the early game fights because that's where it struggles the most. Furthermore, the passive from Focus Band is excellent for healing and scales extremely well with Slowbro's high HP, pretty much making you survive much longer in team fights. Overall, this is probably Slowbro's best defensive item for many situations. Secondly, we have the Buddy Barrier. This item offers HP as the base stat to increase the survivability of Slowbro. But the passive of the Buddy Barrier is the value that we're after. It offers a 40% max HP shield for yourself and an ally when using your Night move, practically making Slowbro unkillable for 8 seconds. Overall, this item is simply too good for teamfights and it's a must-have for many Pokemon. Finally, there are some options for the third item. First, it's the Ao's Cookie. This item is excellent because it offers HP as the base stats and it gives bonus HP when scoring goals. Do take note that the stacks maxes out at 6, so you cannot infinitely stack it. Essentially, the item gives about 1200 more HP at max stacks. All that HP synergizes extremely well with Focus Band and Buddy Barrier. This item is extremely good if you can manage to score some early goals. Next, it's the Score Shield. This item gives HP as the base stats and it provides a 10% max HP shield when attempting to score. The enemy cannot disrupt you from scoring unless they break your shield first, so you can get in many successful scores with this item. Score Shield is extremely clutch and you can see your average score increases per game with it. Finally, we have the Assault Vest. This item gives HP and special defense as the base stat, which is nice to have on a tank like Slowbro. Passive from Assault Vest provides a 15% max HP shield to special attack damage when out of combat for 8 seconds. This item can be extremely good if the enemy has a lot of special attackers like Ninetales and Venusaur. However, this item doesn't offer too much benefit against physical attackers like Cinderace and Greninja. So there you go, you can choose anything as your third item and you'll do fine. Moving on, we have the battle item. There are two choices that are really good for Slowbro. First, it's the Potion. This item gives an immediate heal with only a 30-second cooldown, so you can use it casually whenever you're in need of HP. Overall, the Potion is great in the early game to survive the skirmishes and decent for the late game as the heal won't save you from heavy burst damage. The second choice is the Eject button. This item offers Slowbro a quick escape because Slowbro doesn't have any free dash, so it's difficult to run away during a losing team fight. Additionally, you can eject in and use your Unite move to crowd control an important target so your teammates can have an easier time winning the team fight. Now I'll show you my Slowbro gameplay and going over how to play the early, mid, and late game. Let's get started. Alright, so the start of the game is quite simple. You just get your water gun and just go with your laner to try to clear the monkeys for level 3. Here is a trick you can do to clear the monkeys faster. You can charge your water gun on both the monkeys at the same time. So try to save your second water gun for that. And now that we're very close to level 3, we can test for the crab mid. The enemy did have a Lucario, so he's extremely good at stealing the camps, but I think we were able to secure at least some camps here. Here I ended up having to eject out into the goal, otherwise I would have just died there, but that's okay. Slowbro is relatively weak early, so just keep that in mind and try not to force too hard. And pretty much just farm until you're level 4, that's when you learn your Scald, and that will be your first power spike because you will also get your evolution as well to increase your base stat. Alright, here the crab will spawn at the 9-minute mark, which my Bulbasaur is doing, so I want to give him level 4, and we can fight for the bees that will be spawning right now. Our jungler is here, which is great because then it makes it really difficult for the enemy team to try to contest for this. Now that we learned Scald, we will be doing a lot more damage. The enemy jungler Hunter came up, so we can't really go for that dive, but it's okay. I mean, we got a good amount of bees and we got level 4 safely. Alright, so your next power spike is practically try to get level 6 to unlock your Amnesia, and then when Dreadnaw spawn is usually when you get around level 6, so you want to have both abilities up for Dreadnaw fight, then you'll be a lot more impactful. Here, there's not much going on. We're pretty much just fighting on the river, trying to grab like crabs, or trying to get the next set of camps whenever possible. Here, I'm just saving my Scald to pretty much make sure that my Bulbasaur has his cooldowns up, so we can just burst it down together. If you have the score shield and you have like low points, around like 10 to 15 points, scoring is almost guaranteed against a single target because they cannot break your shield fast enough to pretty much stop you from scoring. And if you score with 10 to 15 points, you actually get a good amount of XP and health back, so it's always worth the risk to take if the enemy is not heavily defending their goal. Here the bee will spawn again at 720, so we want to fight for that, and that should put us at level 6 quite comfortably, and then we can move down for the Dreadnaw fight and be extremely useful to our teammates. I believe we did get a majority of the bees here, which is nice. Yeah, I'm just pretty much positioning myself so I hit the Scald on the bees and zone the Bulbasaur as well, so he doesn't get the chance to try to steal it. Now that I have my both abilities, I'm just gonna walk down and try to help my teammates, do some poke damage, and if the enemy commits too hard, then you can pretty much fight completely. Here you can see the Scald is just burning for damage, and it slows as well if you get the burn, so it's quite good for just poking in team fights. I have a 12 score, which is almost guaranteed, like I said, against a single target, and only Haunter was defending it, so there's no way you can break my shield in time before I get my score down. The Greninja is starting the Dreadnaw, so I'm just helping him here, and we get the Dreadnaw secure quite easily. And look at the Scald damage is just up every 5 seconds, so you can just do a lot of tick damage here and there. And I'm very tanky as well. Look at my HP. I've been tanking the front line for a while now, and they barely dropped me to half HP. So everyone can get their score down here, but if you have 2 high points, then it doesn't really matter since the goal was already low. After you get the Dreadnaw, try to rotate up for the Rotom, and if you can get level 9 for your Unite move, excellent, because that will give you access to your Buddy Barrier now. And at this point, we're extremely far ahead, and it's pretty unfortunate that their Bulbasaur stayed top the whole entire time and was managed to pretty much solo the Rotom, but it is what it is. I mean, we didn't get the Rotom, but it's not that big of a deal because we got the Dreadnaw, we got a huge XP lead, and we can't prepare, we got the bees as well. So we're still quite far ahead in terms of XP. Here, I believe the upcoming fight, we will try to fight for this, and we have a level lead, meaning we have a Unite move and the enemy doesn't. I'm just gonna pop my Unite move here on the Lucario because he is a priority target. Killing the Lucario is extremely difficult under the goal, so it's better to just ulti him outside of it, so you can pretty much out control him and get the kill. And using your ulti when you have a lot of score, either yourself or your teammates, it's great to just dive the goal because if you kill them, you can get your score down. So your ultimate or your Unite move has a lot of value for that purpose as well. You don't always have to save it for the Dreadnaw. You can actually use it to trade in for points as well. Here, the next objective is obviously just fight for Dreadnaw again. Here I see my teammates are diving quite deep by themselves, and I think both of them die. And I have to eject out here because there's really not much I can do against 3 people. Slowbro does do a lot of poke damage here and there, but do be careful that you cannot tank multiple people at once because even with Amnesia up, you can get bursted down quite hard if the enemy team has a lot of damage. Here, I'm just gonna do some damage to the Charizard. Unfortunately, he did use his Unite move, so he gets his Buddy Barrier, and I almost died here, but look at how much HP I'm getting back from the Focus Band. I'm already back to half HP from almost dying. And our Venusaur has managed to secure the Dreadnaw, which is excellent for us. And there you go. Pretty much Focus Band is extremely good on Slowbro. That half HP back is quite insane. Now we pretty much have a 2 level lead on the opponent. Dreadnaw did spawn, but I believe my teammates are rushing quite heavily here. I see the Charizard rushed in with his Unite move. So I'm like, okay, I guess I'll just back you up here. Do keep in mind that you don't want to be too far up in teamfights because there's really no reason to do that. You want to tank damage from a safe distance, but try to be in front of your carries as well, pretty much in the middle ground where you can just continuously shoot out the Scald for damage and pop your Amnesia to pretty much mitigate damage as well. Here I get 11 point score down pretty easily on top of 2 people. Like I said, I have score shield, so at this point my HP bar is extremely high, so it's really easy to just score with like 10 to 15 points on score shield. Here I have to run. Unfortunately, my teammates did all die except for our Venusaur, but it's not too bad because we actually distracted the enemy long enough where our Greninja was able to just like kill the Rotom. And I thought I almost got away there, but the Gengar came out with his Hex combo, and there's really no escaping that since I don't have my eject button, but it's not a bad death. That was the first time I died, but it's okay. I mean, we fought for a very long time. Look how much damage I tanked. I tanked about almost 15,000 damage before I died. So this means that my Focus Band was healing me, and the Amnesia was also pretty much providing a lot of mitigation, allowing me to get a lot of regen back. Probably the Elder Gods heal as well. So you can stay in a fight for very long if you know how to manage your HP bar and not be too far up and take like, you know, a lot of burst damage. There is another decent fight for us. We are wiping them, and at this point, I'm just gonna save my Unite move. Typically around like the 2:30 to 3 minute mark, you want to start saving your Unite move for the Zapdos because using it before then means you won't be able to charge it fast enough when Zapdos spawn. So I'm just going to save it here. As you can see, I'm not using it on any of the opponent because I know how valuable it is to keep it for the Zapdos fight. Here we're pretty much wiping them one by one, and I do have a little bit of points, not enough to even matter to score. Here you see that I am checking the Zapdos pit, because what I noticed from a lot of players is that when they're too busy fighting, they forget about the objectives, especially around the 2 minute mark, and they forgot to check the pit sometimes. And if the enemy team, they have like 1 or 2 people on it, then they can potentially just, you know, do it slowly, but if we don't contest, then it's pretty much theirs. Here I get 10 points, not too bad, right? Just small points here or there. With the score shield, it's guaranteed score, so why not? Because you get HP back as well. Here I check these pit again to see if the enemy is attempting it with like, you know, the Gengar or the Venusaur. But it's good that they haven't, so we can continuously just fight and distract, because at this point we're just gonna win in terms of points. If the enemy team wants any chance to come back, they have to do Zapdos. And here we finally scouted out the enemy team, and you can see what I did with my eject button and Unite move. So I just eject in to pretty much crowd control the Gengar, because I noticed that the Zapdos was pretty low, so the Gengar is definitely looking for a secure with his Hex there. So I pretty much crowd control him and made him a very sad boy. Here the game is pretty much over, the enemy team surrendered, they can't do anything. So there you go, that's the end of the gameplay of Slowbro. Hopefully you enjoyed it, and if you did, please give the video a thumbs up to help the channel grow. I will continue to make more guides like like this to help you guys, so subscribe for future content. Thanks for watching. Goodbye for now.